Okay, so we are starting back up. This is the second video for this week. Or the third video, I guess, for this week. I'm so sorry that these videos are long, but these are two really great stories, and this is usually what we do over a week. So I apologize that they're so long, but I think they're kind of interesting. So let's start back up with Hills Like White Elephants here. And the idea of this couple talking about abortion, but not directly talking about abortion. I'm going to say right now, this story is not about abortion. I am sorry to negate your Google searches and all the story analysis that you have read on Google telling you that this story is about abortion. No, this story is not about abortion. If you write about this story in your research paper and if you tell me that the social issue to this is abortion, I am going to put a 0 on that paper. Do not do that. Because it really is about so much more. It's about beginnings and endings. And when something has to end for something else to begin, right? And so this is about what is about to end and what is about to begin. And the decision that has to be made by this woman who's navigating within this particular patriarchy of the late 1920s. And it's about a man asserting his patriarchal privilege of saying, you can just do this. It's just, just letting the air in. Okay, dude, it's just letting the air in. Yeah, sure, okay. And it's also about the ticking clock in the crossroads. This couple is literally in a crossroads. They're at a train station. It's 40 minutes until the next train is coming. They have to make this life decision in 40 minutes. I can't even make a decision on what to eat in 40 minutes. I can't imagine having to make a life decision in 40 minutes. Jig has to make a decision whether or not she's going to stay with this dude and keep traveling or leave this dude and keep this baby. Those are her options. There is no in between. There is no like, you know what? I'm gonna marry you. I'm gonna do the honorable thing. I'm gonna marry you. We're gonna make this like suburban thing happen. We're gonna raise this kid right. We're gonna do that. Or hey, we're gonna settle down for like 2 years and then we're gonna keep traveling the world because babies need some stability. That's not an option here. And so Jake has to make this decision. And so this is what this story is about. So I want you to put the abortion aside, right? The abortion is a thing. It's a footnote. This is about so much more. All right, so let's talk about lots of figurative language here, lots of metaphors, lots of symbolism. This is very similar. This story, in my head, is very similar to Raymond Carver's Popular Mechanics in that it is short, and in the shortness, there's a lot going on. So you have the wind of the hills defines what an abortion is. The warm wind blew the bead curtain against the table. They just let the wind in. You can even talk about this as being the winds of change, essentially. You also have the idea of being drunk, the drink being bitter and not being drunk, sorry. The drink being bitter and then sweet. Bittersweet, all things that you've waited for so long, like absinthe, right? The idea of that idea of I've waited for this all my life and here it is, and now I have to make a decision between the man I love and the baby that I want, So as she is making this, she's holding 2 strands from the beaded curtain. That I have seen people use that as a symbol. She's looking at it like there can only be 2 and not 3. Okay, I'll give you that as a symbol. All right, give me a good argument. Okay. And then you have the 2 heavy bags, literally the baggage that they're having between them. The 2 bags with the stamps from everywhere in the world that they've been to. This is literally the baggage that they have to carry, and the baggage is physical in this case, but there's also intangible baggage, the baggage that they have between both of them. Obviously, she's already told them that she's pregnant, and obviously they've already had a conversation. She just is at the point where she has to decide, right? And of course, you have the dialogue. And the dialogue is the shield and the weapon, the shield and the weapon. You know, there in my annotations, I say, "Ooh, she's cranky," and she's cranky because she's kind of darting him, right? She's kind of like jabbing him and then protecting herself, jabbing him and protecting herself, and trying to see reactions, because she has this decision to make, and she wants to see where his head's at. And he's saying one thing, um, and is she listening? Maybe, maybe not. But she is listening. She is watching his reactions, and she is listening to his reactions. So interesting stuff. The setting here, again, literally at a crossroads. You are at a train station. I'm not quite sure if you've ever been at a train station. I have. Love trains. Trains are great. If you ever get a chance to be on Amtrak, you should go and do it. But at a train station, you literally have train tracks. One train track goes one way, the other train track goes the other way, and you have a platform. And that platform is what you stand on to get onto the train. And so you literally are in a decision making capability of which direction you want to go. So either you're going to go to the future or you're going to go to the present. Either you're going to have this family or you're not going to have this family. So one side of the station is fertile and abundant, and the other side not so much. I think I pointed that out in my annotations. So you want to look at the setting here, and what Hemingway's doing with the setting is brilliant. You have the idea of these hills like white elephants, right? And these elephants is not only setting but also symbolism. So they're doing some heavy lifting. You know, the setting of white elephants, you know, of these mountains that look like white elephants. They are bare. They're stark white or gray even almost. But also the idea of a white elephant being a gift that you didn't want, but it's a gift nonetheless. And all of this happening in 40 minutes. 40 minutes to make a decision, guys. Can you believe that? So then you have the American and Jig, again, calling her a girl at the beginning is very telling. Because she is a girl, is someone who needs to be taken care of, essentially. They're known as, and I'm putting this in quotations, the fairer sex, the sex that is not as strong. And so that is the connotation here with using the word girl instead of her name. And we don't know her name until about, I think, the middle part of the story, middle or towards the end. So the American is the one, or the man is the one who's like saying, "Hey, this is natural. It's just letting a little bit of air in." And so Jig is dependent on her. She's along for the ride. She's not really on her own, and yet she is making this decision on her own. This is so interesting for me as a woman, and for you gentlemen, this should be also interesting as well, because look at what is happening here. He's calling all the shots. He's buying beer. He's paying for everything. I'm sure he's paying for tickets to go everywhere. She's along for the ride. Now, is this something that she is allowed? Is that she's allowing, as in she's making the conscious decision to have him pay for everything? Or is this something that, like, I have no choice because, like, this is my dude, right? Like, he's not gonna make me work or let me work. I don't know. Like, this is something to think about, right? Of course, because this is the late 1920s. So the motivations here are different between these characters. So here's the thing about both of these stories, Girl and Heels Like White Elephants. They both end with a question. And so the idea of this is that nothing is settled. It doesn't end with an exclamation mark. It doesn't end with a period. These are not definitive sentences. These are not commands. These are questions. And so ending with the questions means that things are still up in the air. That there is nothing concrete. And so why would a writer end with something that is not concrete? Why would they create that sort of turmoil inside of the reader? That's up to you to decide. And that's it. So here's the scoop on these two stories. And this is why I pair them together, because they both really talk about sexual behavior women in patriarchal societies, men in patriarchal societies, and what that is and what that looks like and feels like. These decisions that both of these women, I'm going to call them women even though they're both called girls in these stories, both of these women in these stories have decisions to make. And this decision could be anywhere from how am I going to behave in this society in order to survive and thrive, and how am I going to make my dreams come true. I've obviously wanted a kid. I obviously want this family, but he doesn't want it. What do I do? This is the late 1920s, right? We're talking about. So a woman seen with a kid, you're seen a certain type of way, right? I think that's a little bit different than nowadays. A woman with a child is seen as a mother. In 1920s, a woman with a child is seen as a slut, as someone who was loose, who got in trouble. And that's what you get for not waiting, or that's what you get for not protecting yourself, right? And so a child is a punishment, right? We see that differently now. All right, guys, I hope this is helpful. I hope that you enjoyed this, and let me know what you think. Send me an email.